Hello and welcome to Ixion. Ixion is an unrelenting city-building odyssey set in space. It is brought to us by developer Bulwark Studios and publisher Kasedo Games. Many of you have probably already seen this game, either on YouTube or Twitch. I'm sorry for those of you who are regular viewers that I'm so far behind on that, but it takes a little practice. It is unrelenting, as I said a moment ago. If you're familiar with Frostpunk, it's a bit like Frostpunk in terms of the unrelenting city building genre. But of course, as I mentioned, it is very futuristic. So whereas Frostpunk is steampunk, this is Frostpunk in space, and it is Frostpunk in the future in a way. So let's just go ahead and take a look around and then get started on the game and see what you all think of it, as well as what I have. I have done a bit of practicing and in order to get ready to play this for you, and I'm also playing a game kind of ahead of it a little bit, just so that I can know a little bit of what's coming, so that it's not a complete stumble upon, have to restart the chapter kind of thing. The game is broken apart into I think 5 different chapters plus the prologue, where we're going to get started on in a moment. And each chapter is set in a different star system. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, let's look at the settings. I kept most everything default, with the exception of course, tweaking the audio in order to make it try to balance here with my voice, although I think the music might be a little bit soft now. Let's see if I can turn that up a little bit. Let me know what you think, of course, in that first episode. But in terms of settings that I've changed, I turned on the continue playing dialogue when the game is paused. This gives us a little bit of time, especially here at the very beginning of the game, where we can save a bit of time in the progress of the game by being able to pause the game while the tutorial and the introductory characters are talking. I think everything else is kind of is left at default, with the exception also of misophonia mode. There is at some point a character that eats an apple, and the sounds are quite exacting. And folks with misophonia mode probably will have some sensitivity to it, or with misophonia I mean. So I've turned on misophonia mode so that it removes those sounds. There are of course a myriad of key bindings, most of which I kind of don't use. Display settings, I always play on borderless windowed. That's insane. I don't play at that high of resolution. I'm at 1080p, not 4K, but I don't know why it says that, but either way. And I have it at an unlimited frame rate. That may or may not be wise, but we'll see if that causes a problem later on. And then, of course, I have a lot of the graphics here set at medium, which are the defaults. I could probably turn them up. That would probably help things the way they look. That's on. Let's turn this up to high. If they get high bloom, actually might not be a good idea. Let's leave that down. Motion blur off, and building lights quality, I think we'll leave that at low as well. Let's apply those just to maybe increase some of the appearances a little bit here. My graphics should be able to handle more than that, but I also don't like to overspend with also recording and stuff like that. So I think we're just going to go ahead and start on the game. I kind of already talked about at least the generic credits of the publisher and the developer. There's probably a little more detail in there, but in terms of the individuals, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on that at this point. So let's go ahead and go into a new game. The game will load and give us the ability to click a button, and then there will be a nice introductory animation or cutscene here that I really want you all to enjoy. So enjoy.
Launch control, we have Tiqqun clearance for shuttle launch. Initiate Stanford protocol.
Plan procedures, check. Guidance go.
Okay, algorithm online.
Batista safety protocol, check.
Launch control to EMB, Charon. All systems are go.
Launch is imminent. Personnel are instructed to evacuate the launch pad.
Visualize the proximity of Tiqqun structure.
PPS Tiqqun to EMD share. You have clearance for final approach. EMD share. You have been assigned to Tiqqun Docking Bay. Welcome on board, passengers. Shuttle EMV Sharon is now docked. Sector 1 empowered and pressurized. Munchie decontamination protocol online. Disembarkation authorized. Message to crew members. Welcome on board the Tiqqun, property of DOLOS Aerospace Engineering Corporation. You will soon be given your assignments, but until then, please continue to wait near the docking bay. We hope you have a productive voyage, and would like to thank you for your contribution towards humanity's future. Administrator, I am Eden, the personal assistant installed on board the Tiqqun. In accordance with the Munchie Protocol, I have been designed to take into consideration your complete psychological profile so that I may more accurately respond to any needs you may have. My primary purpose is to ensure the Tiqqun's automated systems function efficiently. I will keep track of the tasks that are necessary for you to fulfill your prerogative of reaching Proxima Centauri and carrying out field research, mining operations, manufacturing protocols, and DOLOS colonization tests.
Alright, so before I go to the next transmission, I just want to jump in here. So I've paused the game. You can kind of tell by the darkening of the corners as well as the dotted yellow line around the edges. That's really nice to have. The game will give us a few tutorials here. We're going to glance at these a little bit. Not going to read through them in detail, but I want to glance at them, and I'm going to leave the tutorial system on so we can talk about them as they come up. So there are three main views in the game: inside the station/ship, outside the station/ship, and then the planetary system, and we'll take a look at those. We also, of course, have camera controls usable via either the mouse or the keyboard in almost every case here. When we're in the ship, of course, we can do the usual zoom, rotate, and move back and forth, panning. And we also have an exterior which has a lot of the same, or two of the three same controls, zooming in and out and rotating. And then the planetary system map, we can do all three sets again. And then we have buildings. Each building has resource costs, power consumption, and workers that work there. Each buildings, when they're deconstructed, refund the entire amount of resources that they are built with, so you don't have to worry about building and tearing down and building and tearing down and losing resources over time. So we're going to take advantage of that as well. Construction is pretty standard. Kind of a layout where you can place the buildings. Buildings have these arrows on them, and those are the access points to the building. You have to connect at least one of those to a road, either end on like this or side on on the side of a road. And then, of course, they can rotate as well. Assembly of buildings has a bit of an animation to it. You place the building yourself, and then transporters will send resources from stockpiles to build the building or to supply the building's construction efforts, and then a workshop will send a mech to actually assemble it. And then finally, roads are kind of similar, except that roads are free. They only take time to build, and deconstructing roads is instant. And roads are used by mechs and transporters to access buildings. Here are the sectors. The ship has 6 sectors. Each sector is independent as far as As far as certain aspects go, we're going to focus on that a little bit as we go through the game and open up more sectors. But there are 6 total sectors. We only have 1, and we'll have, I think we might open the second one somewhere in the middle of chapter 2, perhaps. It takes a while before you want to open another sector. Do not open another sector in the prologue, if it lets you. I don't know if it'll let you. Yeah, each sector has a constructible area of 56 by 30 tiles, totaling 1,680, and that's all you can build in that sector. So you have to kind of balance a little bit between space and demand in that sector to try and have everything you need and not too much so that you don't need. And then finally, there is a mini-map here on the sectors. You can click on the sector to jump there. You can see the battery charge on this inner ring of the mini-map down here, and I guess that's kind of it. And then finally, time control. There is the time control, which I paused with spacebar, and you can use 1, 2, and 3 for 1, 2, and 4x speed, respectively. And then this will pop up every so often with a few more tutorials. It'll just pop out here, and we'll take care of those when we get there. So I'm going to continue with the transmissions now after that quick tutorial orientation.
Administrator, I wanted to introduce you to your first tasks person. I'm DOLOS' cryonics lead, Marduk Council member Giovanni Battista. So, let's see. Your first objective will be to begin setting up essential infrastructure aboard the Tiqqun, meeting the environmental conditions that are required to support your crew. Having laid these foundations, you will then oversee the installation of the Vol engine and perform a short test jump to Proxima Centauri. Upon arrival, your research teams will carry out a brief survey of local space, gather a few rock and coal dust samples, fire up the colonization protocol, begin building the foundations for mankind's future, yada yada yada. And then you'll come back. Now, in order to achieve this, you'll need to familiarize yourself with the Tiqqun's core functions. It's no big deal. There's the production, stockpiling and distribution of resources, construction, balancing of power output with allocation. Oh, and space exploration, setting out expeditions and all that. Basically, everything needed to establish scientific advancement and harmonious autonomy on board the Tiqqun following the first test of its Vol engine. Eden's gonna display and keep track of your main objectives. Oh, and Administrator, don't let the position go to your head. Veneer has insisted to center DOLOS' focus on the Tiqqun. But this mission is just in preparation for our next project, the Protagoras. The Marduk Council worked damn hard to pull this mission together ahead of schedule. So, toe the line, do as you're told, and bring the Tiqqun back in one piece. Leave the grand gestures and saving of mankind from ecosystemic destruction to us, okay? One last word of advice. We don't all think like Veneer DOLOS. As of yet, no human law has been officially established amongst the stars. That sounds like an opportunity knocking to me.
Close transmission. So we basically just have to get started. Across the top here, we can toggle the resource HUD. I like it on at all times, but if you don't like it on at all times, you can also use the Alt key to show and hide it when you need it. It doesn't do anything when it's turned on. We have iron, this is ore. Then we have alloys, which is effectively steel. Carbon, polymer, and you can also see there's an arrow here. So iron leads to alloys. Yeah, you don't use any sort of carbon to make the steel. Forgo the game logic here. Carbon is turned into polymer. Silicon is turned into electronics. Then you have hydrogen, waste, ice, food, cryonic pods, and science, as well as population over here on a separate bar. If there's power here, I'm not sure what these little bars are underneath it. Actually, is that per sector? That must be per sector battery power. Gotcha. Okay. Hull integrity here is at 1,000. That's good. Trust over here is at 50%. This is trust in you as the administrator. And then finally, power here in the middle with some detail by a sector. You can click on this button, turn into power mode here, and you can click to turn power on and off at different buildings. We'll probably use that a little bit later. If trust or hull integrity fall to 0, you lose. So be careful. Down here we have the mini-map it was referred to in the tutorial, as well as this this HUD down here, showing us what sector we're looking at currently, if you couldn't see it up there, or you didn't want to see it up there. The current population in the sector, whereas this, I believe, is sector and overall pops. I'm not sure. Maybe that's population and then workers. I'm not sure what the two numbers mean. We'll look at that later. And then I can't remember what the two numbers mean. What our current level of trust is. We have a +10 buff right now, which is going to be here through the prologue, and that means people won't get unhappy with us. Later on, they will. Don't worry. Conditional current working conditions. We have 12 workers. All of them are available. None of them are on strike. And then we have our power consumption in the sector, our batteries in the sector, and then this is our water in the sector. Water will come a bit later, maybe in Chapter 1, definitely Chapter 2. Over here we have our clock, our time. Of course, the speed controls here as well, and buttons. And then what our current cycle is. Cycles are basically days, but also basically not. They're kind of a vague time. The signal's 1 revolution of the station. It's not tied to Earth days because, well, you're not on Earth. And then there are meal cycles every 5 cycles. So you want to make sure you're able to feed your people at every multiple of 5. And then we have the views going from interior to exterior to planetary system, so you can jump to those. There are different controls here in each view, and we'll get to those as we get to it. So the first thing we need to do, as you can see by this, is build something. The sector requires a workshop. You can build one now for free. So we get 1 free workshop, 1 free stockpile. I want to build this probably right in here, I think. You can fiddle with this a little bit. I usually do. I've started the game a couple of times, but I'm going to start right there with that, and then we also want to build a stockpile, and I'm going to put that over here. I think right up against the wall of the station, up against that road there. And you can see the arrows here, and there's only arrows on one side of this building, whereas some buildings have arrows on multiple sides or all sides even. So now that we've built those two, we have another tutorial here for resources. This sometimes it adds a tab to an existing tutorial. Sometimes it adds a bunch of tabs and a new tutorial. We already talked about how some of the resources work, the raws work, and then there are also the manufactured resources and what they're used for here. I won't read this all through, but you can see it all here in this tutorial. And then storage is each stockpile can store 1 and only 1 type of item at any given time, and up to 100 in the small stockpile by default, or base capacity of that item. And they need to be stored in stockpiles to be accessible, to be built with or used for other purposes. Supplies are all these things we see on the ground here that we're going to start picking up. We'll pick them up, and they'll be put in our stockpile. And then finally, transport. There are 2 different kinds of transporters, the white ones and the gold ones. The white ones are internal sector, intra-sector transporters, and the gold ones are inter-sector, so between sectors transporters. Each stockpile has a dedicated number of transporter vehicles, starting at 5, and you can upgrade them to add more, I believe. Or they're yellow, not gold, but it doesn't matter. So the first thing we want to do is start collecting resources. Well, we have this built, we have this built. We need to assign this to accept alloys, because you can see there's a bunch of alloys in these different resources here, these different resource spots here. And I want to build some roads as well. There's a build tool here for roads. And I'm just going to take this road like this all the way across to there. And then I'm going to turn and go across to there. And that'll assign my mech. You can see here. I should probably...
DOLOS's lead data scientist, Emma Plain.
Oh, okay. We have another conversation happen. Before we do that, I just want to say that you can see the mech building the road. The mech came out of the workshop really fast. You probably didn't see it. And then here's the white trucks, and you can see them hauling stuff. And that stuff they're hauling is the alloys they pulled out of 1 or more of these storages that we activated by clicking on the diamond. Let me go into the settings and adjust the movement speed here. Interior view, camera sensitivity. Yeah, let's take that down to, I don't know, 30. There, and we'll start with that. Apply. Is that better? Yeah, maybe. Okay, let's go ahead and listen to the transmission. I've paused the game so the game will wait for us to finish this.
Administrator, Mr. DOLOS has made it abundantly clear when it comes to security. Given the importance of the Tiqqun, we must have full control over what is happening inside the station. My name is Emma Klein, DOLOS' lead data scientist and member of the Marduk Council. My department have just completed final synchronization between Eden and our data treatment tool, the DLS. The DLS, or Data Listening System, is capable of scanning, recording, and parsing exchanges of any kind. The DLS programming that is a part of Eden will filter all data collected and bring to your attention only the most relevant information. It will also provide you with a condensed overview of any situations that may arise and formulate potential future outcomes. It will permit you to give direct orders without having to go through additional unnecessary paperwork. Eden will then take care of everything via their DLS accreditation, as is often the case with tools produced by my department. I think you'll find that once you start using the DLS, you'll never be able to do without it. Oh, and before I let you go ahead and start writing history, Dr. Munchie, our lead medical expert, wanted me to bring to your attention a possible side effect of vol jumping. Whilst there's a correlation between prolonged space travel and the development of early onset dementia, he believes that a vol jump has the potential to accelerate this process, although this is yet to be proven. His recommendation is for you to immediately send any crew members that are exhibiting uncharacteristic or symptomatic behavior to an infirmary, as these facilities are equipped to treat the mind as well as the body. Remember that all of your actions and choices are being recorded by Eden. We are not affiliated with any national or even international organization. The only people that you are answerable to are those of us who sit on the Marduk Council, who represent the collective interests and ambitions of the company. Administrator,
Okay.
a new request awaits.
And then there's this request. The Tiqqun's crew will communicate with you via the DLS events. A number of options we presented allow you to choose how to respond to requests. So we're getting a pop-up on the screen. We'll have to take care of that. And we have a choice. Sometimes one choice is better than others. Sometimes it doesn't matter. And sometimes you want to deny a request. But don't deny requests too often because they will cause you to suffer. So let's go ahead and click on the event. Tiqqun crew members are currently unable to access food supplies. Nyocon protocols direct the construction of a mess hall. This building is designed to distribute food from our stockpiles to the crew. Guaranteeing access to food supplies will reaffirm your competency as administrator. So let's ensure access to food. We don't get a choice in this one. And then we're going to aid the data listening protocol, which is basically ending the event discussion here. And then we have the mess halls here where we need to build a mess hall. They do not create food but serve it, so every 5 cycles. And then we need to have a stockpile to store food in. So let's go ahead and do that. I want to build a couple of stockpiles anyway. We'll put one in right here. And no, that's not where I want it, is it? Nope, that's not where I want it. Cancel that. Delete. Delete. I want to put them back here like this, but I want to build this one first. So we'll do that and then this. And then I want to build the mess hall, but I want to wait until they clear up some of this stuff here first before we build that mess hall. We don't have a time limit on how soon we have to build the mess hall, which is kind of nice. We should get it done before cycle 5, but other than that, we don't have one. So they are currently delivering, instead of gathering more alloys, they're currently delivering alloys to these for them to be built. So you want to kind of, when you only have one stockpile, which we do right now, for alloys, then it kind of takes you a while to get anything built. So one of the key things in the game is to have more than one, especially of key things like alloys, that way you can have more transporters devoted to transporting those goods. And I definitely want to clear these and then these first because of the kind of design that I'm thinking of using. We need to store food here, and now we can click on this icon to pick the food up from here. And its dedicated transporters here will come and get that food and load it in, just like that. And then once this one's done, we're going to turn that one into alloy storage as well. That way we can pick up more alloys at a time. I'm going to give them the ability to pick up some more of these now, because this one's just about done. Although I suspect they're probably coming over here now because they're closer. Yeah, that's fine. We're going to turn this one on in a moment anyway. Yep, there we go. And then you can go in and pick up these last couple, which you just did. That'll disappear. That disappears. And now we have some more space here we can build with. So now we need to come out here to food and the mess hall. And I will put that in right in here, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, right in there. And now we need to just get it built. You can see our tasks up here. And then we will... I think we'll just continue gathering these items. We need a place to store this item, which is polymer, so let's get that started as well, under maintenance, stockpile. Can't see it. There. Okay. I was clicking too many times, clicking rotate too many times, or pressing rotate too many times, and it was taking its time. Let's put this road in here so we can connect up next these bits here. And then we'll also want to connect a road up to these ones over here. So let's go ahead and do that as well. That way our mech can build these roads when they're done building this stockpile here for the polymers. Because we know they're polymers because we have a storage icon for them up here. This is where the game kind of gets a little bit slow in a way.
Transmission from Marduk Council member Henry Bargeville.
Okay. Let's pause again, and we'll go ahead and start this.
Bonjour, Administrator. What a wonderful day to embrace our fate, don't you think? I'm Henri Bargeville, writer, philosopher, lobbyist, but most of all member of the Marduk Council. I have taken the liberty of personally arranging an exchange out of courtesy with the Oceanabe, a ship in high orbit belonging to one of our commercial allies, the Ashtangites. Even though they are a small organization, the Ashtangites are important partners who share the same pragmatic, moralistic, and spiritual outlook as we do. The Oceanabe will provide us with a source of food while carrying out the Tiqqun's initial testing. By making it the first exclusive trade partner of the Tiqqun, we will demonstrate to our long-term allies that DOLOS wishes for them to share in our successes. Please assign a cargo ship so that we can check the trade routines. Administrator, trust in genetic connectors. Self-similar space will reveal the pattern.
This phrase comes up a lot. The self-similar space reveal the pattern. I think we'll hear that a few times. So we have now 2 tasks up here. We have to feed the crew 100 times. We have 85 people, so that means we have to go through not just the next meal cycle and the next cycle, but the one after that before we can actually feed enough people to satisfy this. So we've been given another task here, which is space exploration, where we need to construct a cargo ship and a science ship, both in the docking bay. And you just do that by clicking on the docking bay, and then there are 3 spots available here. You can build one of any of 3 types of ships in each spot. I'm going to do this science ship first, although we don't have the polymer for it yet, and then I'm going to do the cargo ship second, and they will build in that order, the order that you selected them in these spots. We can also have a tutorial here on exploration, which kind of shows how we navigate and talks about if you lose a team member, events will become slower and much more difficult to accomplish. So you have to be careful that when you're making choices on the missions that you choose things that you wanted to choose. Looks like we need another bit of road over here to connect these guys up to that. So we'll let that go. In the meantime, we are building this now. They did build this road for us though, so we can go ahead and pick up some of these while we're waiting. When I say some, I mean all, and we need another bit of road over here too. I think that'll be enough. If not, I can add more. I think it'll be enough. Then we need a bit of road over here too to get to this last one over here. So you kind of want to keep your mech busy doing construction early on, and it doesn't hurt to make. We need polymers here. It doesn't hurt to make some extra storages, especially early on, so that you can pick up as much stuff as you can as fast as possible. So we're going to pick this one up and then this one. They'll pick it up and then they'll quickly deliver it right away to this to the space dock here, the docking bay rather. And you can see we need 25 and then 20, so we're going to need this whole thing, but I wanted them to collect that small one first so that we can potentially build some more over here in this area. I also want to plan for, you can see this also got full. There are 100 alloys in here. So now we are kind of shortchanged a little bit with the amount of unloading of alloys we can do, but that's okay because we'll get there eventually. And I just like to check them all in this area, and then we'll check them all in this area after that, just so that they focus on a whole area as much as they want to. Now that the mech is bored again, I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to put a road in right here, and then put in another stockpile right here, like this, and like this. And that'll help us to gather even more. I'm going to make both these alloys. That'll help us to gather even more alloys. And you can see for a moment that this one was unreachable. It showed that same symbol that these did when they were unreachable. Because there wasn't a road built yet, now that the road is built, they will go and gather now. We have another event here. Some crew members are lacking quarters. During human history, unnecessary homelessness has always been an indicator of civilizational decay. Do not reproduce humanity's basic mistakes aboard the Tiqqun. So, do we want to ensure that all crew are quartered within 12 cycles, or do we want to say there are more pressing needs? This one is plenty easy enough to do, so definitely do it, in my opinion. And then we want to end the data listening protocol. And then we have a tutorial here on population, workers versus non-workers. There are the whole crew number, which is the 85 that we have, and it happens to, I think, be all workers in this case. But as we take on more people, we will have some non-workers, and I guess we can consider those to be the children or the families of the workers themselves. But we do have to feed and house them. But they do not provide anything back to the population or to the ship as far as work getting done. They will also starve if we don't feed them, and they will complain about being homeless if they are homeless. So you want to make sure that you build housing for them so that they are not homeless. So we're going to start on a little bit of housing here, but I need to make a couple of edits to the layout. Houses are one of the buildings that are buildable on all 4 sides, so you can kind of lay the buildings down however you want to. I'm just going to do 2 of them for this exact moment, and then we're going to do a little bit of editing of the road here, and I want to change this road to go across here instead. The mech will come and build that, and then we'll have a better road. Let's see, you are working currently on building the science ship, and then it's going to demand the 20 polymers for the cargo ship, which we will need to gather. Actually, we might have already fed them into there. I think that's what that means, that they're already in there. Let's turn this on for alloys, and then as soon as this one is built, we can do the same. But that means we can, of course, gather alloys faster because we have 5, 10, 15 transporters gathering those alloys. Let's go back into the build menu and let's delete this road now from here to here. And then I want to put up another crew quarters right here. And another one right here. The crew quarters by default will house 15 people. Through upgrades later, you can expand that, but there are also larger crew quarters that you can get access to later in the game. We're going to let them finish gathering all these before we move over here. There we go. The mech is now building that. And then I'm going to want the mech, once it's done with that, to build me another road right here. And we'll have a nice tight block of 6 crew quarters there, which is 90, which will be everybody we need. Actually, we only have 80 people. Where are the other 5? Oh, the other 5 are in the... They're building the science ship, right? They're assigned to the science ship, effectively. I don't think we need to quarter them then, but we're still going to need that 6th one anyway, because 75 is not going to be enough. So the science ship just launched, or just went out on the docking bay. So we can go to the moon event on the planetary system map now. So let's go out to the planetary system map, and we need to send our science ship to the moon. You can see the event here. The little magnifying glass, just like the events in the ship, and we need to go there, but we need to wait for the science ship to get there first. So what we'll do is go back into the ship. Oh, it arrived. It gets there fast because it's the moon, and we're orbiting Earth, so of course. So we need to go into the event. Summary of intelligence on the abandoned base. The base is out of commission. Auxiliary systems are operational and could be used to restore power. Transmissions from the Foucault team. We have reached the UN base. It is abandoned and depressurized. The surveillance system is still operational. Waiting orders. So we can do 2 things here. And what I recommend is before you get to this point, save the game. If you don't know what's going to happen, save the game and try out the different events, reloading your save every time to find the best route through the events to get the most amount of materials for the least amount of bad things happening. But I happen to already know what these are because I've played this ahead a little bit. So we're going to exploit the security vulnerability. We're going to hack into the surveillance system. The Focal's team will access the base's central systems and retrieve any confidential data present. This will take one cycle to complete, so we'll let them do it, and we'll go back into the interior here for a little bit just to see what's going on. We've housed 45 of our 79 citizens so far, so we have to build this yet. Where's the mech at right now? Is it building that? It's not, because it's not lit up like it's building it. I would think it would be building it or building the road, one or the other, but it doesn't seem to be. Wait, does it build the ships? No, it's here. It's here building it. You can see it right there. It just now started lighting up, though. Maybe it wasn't there yet. I don't know. But we need the mech to build the road, and then we need to build a couple more crew quarters behind this one. So I'm going to build those in right there. Like that. And there goes our cargo ship, so we're going to want to go out and take care of that next. The science ship, arrived at the moon. This notification will stay here, and I kind of don't like that a little bit, but it's okay. So another tutorial on harvesting. This added a tab to the exploration that was already here under space interactions, where we can set and control mining ship priorities and cargo ship priorities. In an interface, this is similar to the Dwarf Fortress, RimWorld, Oxygen Not Included, colony controls a little bit, and we're just going to go ahead and take a look at those because why talk about it when you can look at it? So here's our fleet management. This is where we control the mining ships and the cargo ships. We don't have any mining ships yet, of course, but we do have one cargo ship, the Quicksilver. And you can't actually rename these ships. It looks like you can because you can see the little box around the name there, but there's no way to rename these ships, at least not yet. I'm hoping that they add it, but they don't have it yet. So the cargo ships can be assigned to collect one or more types of resources at differing priority levels. And they seem to, from what I understand, collect the resources from left to right in the order here, unless the priority level overrides that, and then within the same priority level. So you left click to assign a high priority, and then you left click again to reduce that priority down, or you can right click to assign a low priority from nothing, and right click again to increase it up to maximum, and then right click again to clear it, just like a left click to clear it when I was decreasing the priorities. So left click to start at high and decrease, and right click to start at low and increase. And then back and forth. So we have some stuff to collect. It happens to be food. You can see that here, that there are 12 resources available for collection, 12 food. And we don't have a ship that's currently assigned to pick that food up, but we can just click that, and then the cargo ship has been ordered to go and pick it up. And you can see it here, flying over toward the Urshanabi to pick that up.
Team has completed a task.
All right, so the science ship team we hacked into the main computer systems as you ordered and retrieved several relevant research papers and data sets, so they can now extract 10 science. So we can end the data listening protocol, and then we have the other task here. And so in some cases, the tasks given at a particular point of interest will be sequential, as this one is. If you had done the dismantle first, you obviously couldn't then exploit the systems. Sometimes they are concurrent, which means, or not concurrent, but you can do them in any order. So you can choose which order you're comfortable doing them in. So that's why I said to give it a try out a few, reloading a save every time, and then when you come up with the decision you want to make, then you can play through and then save after or whatever. So let's dismantle the base next. That's going to take 2 whole cycles. And while that's going on, the Urshanabi was just ferrying that food across, and I think they're done now. Yep, they're done now. We still have 20 more people to feed in the mess hall. We also have some more people to house, which we're currently working on as we speak. We're still collecting these things. They're stocking these up so they're not collecting the resources as much. Well, they are now. I think it's kind of funny how the little transporter trucks here will originate. They don't go from the stockpile out to the thing and back again. They just originate here and then they originate at the source and go to the destination. I want to make this also for alloys, just so we can get this cleaned up fast, and then we'll compress them later, and I'll show you how to compress them later. We also need to worry about our power a little bit. We're using 44 of our 60 available power right now, so we have 16 left. So keep that in mind. The science ship, we did that one. Yep. If you click on it, it takes you there, but it doesn't clear the alert. And you can see here we have 4 people free, are homeless rather, and we have no health buildings. So if anybody gets injured, they will die. So we need to actually build pretty soon, at least, a medical center. Just about done with these, but again, we only have 2 of them running right now because these 2 are full. And we just quartered all of our people. So I want to put the mech to work doing something else. And that something else is to run a road down here. I don't remember how far it needs to go. So we're just going to go to about right there. And then I'll finish it off later, or I'll delete if I went too far. And then I can clear some of this road out once they've finished in that area. So here, I don't want this road here either. And I'm not going to want this whole road here once we get rid of this thing. Let's do more of these, I guess. Let's do that one, though, because we can always store those. We can definitely store those. This just got freed up as soon as they finish. We're just going to clear all those next.
Ship team has completed a task.
Right. Let's go back to the moon. Kind of like that. And so the base has been dismantled, although most equipment was damaged. We were able to prepare some usable resources for extraction. So that leaves us with 30 alloys and 90 more science. So now here, the science ships will collect the science. You can see that happening here, that the ship is collecting the science. So you need to leave the science ship here at the site while you still have science available to collect. Otherwise, you won't collect it. But we have also here, you can see that it needs a cargo ship, that's what that icon means, to collect alloys. So we need to come back in here into our fleet and allow the Quicksilver to come and collect these 30 alloys. And we also have a tutorial here on technology and upgrades. So we need a tech lab. We're going to build that momentarily. And that gives us access to the tech tree where we can unlock new technologies and upgrades for those technologies, for those and technologies that are already available to us. And then we can also, then we can see those upgrades and use those as we see fit. So I'm going to go back into the interface, or to the interior here, and we can build the tech lab as requested here. That's in factories. Yeah, factories. And the tech lab, you can see here, has a very large footprint. I'm going to put it here in the corner, and I'm just going to extend this road out to right to there, and just to the one edge of it, and then that'll be perfectly fine. Let's come back in here and delete this road now. And you can't delete the L shape, so you need to actually handle it like that, which is fine too. And then the next thing I want to build is another workshop. It's good to have 2 workshops, especially going into the chapter 1. You're going to want to have 2 workshops. And then when we're talking about population, let's go ahead and put up an infirmary as well. The infirmary size is kind of nice because it's exactly the same size as 2 of these basic quarters. So let's just put that in right there. And that'll give us something else to spend some of these alloys on, which is also kind of nice. And you can see here that this got provided its resources fast. 20 alloys, and this is taking a while because it takes 75, but we're providing it from 4 different stockpiles of alloys, so it doesn't take that long to provide. And that's kind of a nice feature of the game too, is that it just happens very quickly because you have all those stockpiles with all those transporters in them. So we're collecting the science still on the moon. We have 35 of the 96, is that what that says, collected, and then we're still working on the tech lab, and we'll get that done. And then they'll go back to collecting these after they've delivered all of this and delivered all of this. And then, of course, we have 2 mechs now. So one mech will go and start working on this, and then once this is done being delivered, which it's nearly there, the other mech can come and work on this, and they'll be able to build them simultaneously. And then also they're taking the alloys out of the bay here, the docking bay that the cargo ship brought in, and they deliver them to whichever stockpile wants them. So there's kind of a nice synchronicity of activities going on here with this basic setup that I have going here. So you can see that the mess hall is getting built a lot faster than the tech lab, which is understandable and acceptable given the way things are. And as soon as we finish gathering all the science on the moon, we're actually going to go out and do a little more science elsewhere in the system. But I think what we should do here is pause the game for now and come back in the next episode, finish up the science gathering, finish up the building of these 2 buildings, and then continue our scientific exploration of Sol System here in the prologue before we continue with the story of the prologue. So thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.